Hi, I'm Mary Riker, a UW-Madison senior undergraduate studying civil and environmental engineering. I am a science communication intern for the Wisconsin Energy Insitute.
And I'm Michelle Chung, a communications specialist and former intern at the Wisconsin Energy Insitute and the Great Lakes Bioenergy Research Center. And this was Season 1 of Propelling Women in Power.
My name is Steffi Dean.
Yiying Shang.
Dominique Brossard.
Stephanie Harlan.
Tracy Holloway.
Adriana Trusiak.
Garu Gorlawat.
Natalia De Leon.
Audrey Gash.
Ashley Shade.
The women we have interviewed over the course of this first season are amazing researchers and scientists who are contributing to their fields and the future of sustainable energy in our changing world. They are renowned for their commitment to research, their support of their students, and their teaching of the next generation. Through their work as scientists, they are inspiring this next generation to face scientific challenges head-on. By sharing their stories as women, they're helping develop fairer and more equitable scientific fields in the future.
I'm so grateful we got to interview these amazing women. They shared so candidly with us about their experiences. We learned so much from our conversations this season. Meg, what were some things that stood out to you?
There's a lot that is changing for women in energy science. So many of our guests have noted that there are more women in their fields than there were even 10 years ago. But there's still implicit sexism and institutional structures that make it hard for women to succeed in STEM. Here's what our guests had to say.
There is progress that is being made, but there is a lot of unconscious biases. Being sitting in a room and making a comment and then somebody else making the same comment and my comment was ignored is a pretty common thing. It takes more work. I feel like I could have moved through things faster or better, less painfully if I wasn't a woman.
Academia is a very sexist environment, and it's much better now than it used to. But look, with 16 departments in CALS, and there's only 2 women that are chairs. Among other professors at UW, only 20% are full professors, women.
For a while, the National Science Foundation required that if you wanted to take a postdoc funded by the National Science Foundation, it had to be at a different institution than where you did your PhD. And, there's a good reason for this, because as scholars grow, it's helpful to have different mentors and different communities. Maybe do your undergraduate at one place and your graduate school at a different place and do a postdoc at a third place. If you're requiring that someone move their entire life up across the country when they start graduate school, when they start a postdoc, 2 years later, maybe for another postdoc, 2 years later for maybe a temporary position, these kind of huge life movements are especially disruptive for families, or if you plan to have kids, and just the way the biological clock maps on to the PhD clock, women are more disadvantaged by these procedures.
It's a big myth to tell women that they can have a career and they can have a family and both can be great, because there are these issues that pandemic has shown us that actually make it very hard to do those things.
I was in my program for a year after I had my first child, and I found the balance to be really difficult and didn't quite have the support structure I needed at the time to be able to finish my degree. So I stopped my PhD at that time.
Also, one of the bigger struggles I've had in my personal, professional experience is the lack of flexibility. When women have family, have kids, it comes with a lot of responsibilities, and sometimes there's conflict between work and family.
We need to make institutional changes to support caregivers, marginalized people, first-generation college students, the people that face a lot of these barriers to finding success in STEM. Some of our guests had many potential solutions to these issues, both system-wide and in how they cultivate their own communities.
In an organization where there are a lot of unwritten rules, that benefits the majority group. Maybe because they're, subliminally or explicitly helping each other, going out to get lunch together or chit-chatting in ways that underrepresented groups aren't included in.
In order to promote women and minority, we are having them participate more in activities, and it's a huge responsibility. So first of all, when I invite somebody for something, I always start by saying it is totally okay to say no. I want you to feel like it is your right. I'm inviting you because, I would love to have you participate, but please feel free to say no. The other thing is that I try as much as possible to figure out ways to compensate people for that effort.
Providing full-time childcare for elementary aged students in the summertime, because faculty in the sciences don't shut down their labs in the summer. They're still managing their teams and advancing their science. So having a reliable, affordable, high quality place on campus where children can go and be enriched and be cared for, while scientists have the space and the time to pursue their research program and support their labs.
And so many of our guests had great advice that they've learned on their own paths: prioritizing your own balance and values, mentoring, and speaking up.
To just check in and ask yourself, does this opportunity align with these values and these goals that I have for myself? And if the answer is not obviously yes, don't feel obligated to take that opportunity.
Instead of worrying about the job or being everything you can, or being what people expect you to be who you want to be. Do the amount of work that you want to do that's sustainable for you, and do it the best you can. And if it doesn't work out, or if it's not enough, then that's not the right job for you. But I think that by just having that attitude, it can be enough.
Continuously updating my resume or my CV, because those are objective things that I have done that no one can take away from me. And so reminding yourself of what you've done to get this far, I think helps a lot.
Focus on the process. Perfection is actually not part of the process.
Ultimately, sticking together and sharing experiences makes us relatable to each other, that we're both going through the same things and having the same feelings or dealing with the same issues.
This was such a good season. We would like to thank all of our guests and all of you listening in. We hope that in these women's stories, everyone can learn something about finding your own career path, the changes we need to make our fields more inclusive, and how we can do our best to lead the way for others.
Please subscribe, rate, review, and share this podcast with a friend. You can find the Wisconsin Energy Insitute at energy.wisc.edu, and you can find the Great Lakes Bioenergy Research Center at glbrc.org. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time on Propelling Women in Power Season 2.